Welcome back to the Todd Durkin IMPACT Show, the podcast dedicated to lighting you up with inspiration, motivating you to be better in all areas of your life, and igniting action inside of you so that you can ultimately create more impact in this world that so desperately needs you. On every IMPACT Show, we dive into mindset, health set, leadership, and something personal so that I can coach you to be the very best version of yourself. With that, it's time to dive into today's IMPACT Show episode. Welcome back to another episode of the Todd Durkin IMPACT Show. And you're in for a jam-packed session today. As a matter of fact, I'm going to drop some heat here in just a moment, and then I'm flying on over to Phoenix, Arizona to see my friends over at NASM, the National Academy of Sports Medicine, where we're doing some great work together. And, just buckle up and you'll see what it's all about, because this is going to be an awesome episode today with not one, not two, but three of my friends over at NASM. You're going to get all of the heat today. And I got something a little personal at the end of today's show. Without further ado, let's drop in to the mindset section right now. Yoo-hoo! Yeah. Hey, you got your mind right? Good. I'm just checking, because before I go over to Phoenix, Arizona for NASM, I want to make sure that your mind is right. As a matter of fact, I was talking to my good friend the other day, Jeff Fenster. You can look back. Jeff's been on the show before. And we were talking about a few things that make a difference in one's business and life. And I want to extract out from some of that conversation that he was talking about that I really liked. I'm like, hey, this is the mindset of a champion. This is what I'm talking about. Number one, you've heard me say this before, but relationships over resumes. Relationships over resumes. Like, hey, it's all great if you have a great resume and great schools, great education. But at the end of the day, it's about the relationships that you have. Let's make sure we nurture those people who are in our life. That's number one. Number two, perfection kills momentum. Perfection kills momentum. Man, how many perfectionists do we have out there? Anyone else? Yeah. Hey, perfectionism is something that will rob you of getting the results that you want in business, in your relationships, in your entire life. So just know this, that you want to get momentum. And as my other good friend, Pastor Miles McPherson always says, hey, momentum. In order to get that, if you want more happiness, you want more money, you want more everything, then get Uncle Mo in your life. Get momentum in your life and great things will happen. So remember, you don't have to be perfect. Stop striving for perfection. You don't want to be perfect. Go out there and take action. Imperfect action is going to help you get you to where you want to go. That's number two. So perfection kills momentum. And lastly, three, I want to share today is vision must be your anchor. Your vision. So I'm going to ask you, what is your vision for this next year? Hey, for 2025, what's your vision? I asked you that back in January here, but what about your vision for not just 2025, the next 3 years, or even the next 10 years? I know 10 years seems overwhelming, but I share that because even right now, my team at Todd Durkin Enterprises and at Impact X Performance, we're in the process right now of creating vision boards. You're like, vision boards? I remember those vision boards. You know, you cut out pictures and that. And listen, that's not some airy-fairy thing. Like, vision boards can serve in multiple roles. Number one, yeah, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's important. But vision boards can have words on them as well, not just pictures. I literally just the other night went to Barnes & Noble. Can you believe it? There's still Barnes & Noble in business. I bought a bunch of lifestyle magazines. I'm cutting it out. And I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working on my vision board. Like, I'm updating that. Well, I'm not the only one doing it because I have our entire teams doing it. Why? Because it's also about a team-led vision. So I share that because for you and your team, if you have a team, have you shared your vision? Have your teammates shared their vision? See, for us at TDE, we've got life coaching certifications. We got mindset coaching certifications coming up. We've got my high performance mastermind group for people who want to receive coaching. And these are CEOs of companies. These are entrepreneurs. And these are also fit pros and trainers. This is all the mastermind. But when you have a vision of where you want to go, it's more likely to happen because visions give us life. Visions give us energy. Visions drive us. This is where we're going. This is the destination of where we're going to end up. So my question to you is, what is your vision? Where are you going in the next year? What are you doing to help get you to your vision? But it starts with a picture. It starts with a vision, and not just doing it one time and you do it on a weekend, but that you actually put it up and you see it every day and you look at it and you try to potentiate what your vision is. So I asked you these questions as I coach you here in the first section of today's episode. Right now, when I say relationships over resumes, number one, which relationships do you have right now that you most cherish? And what are you doing to make sure those people know how much you cherish them? Number two on that is, which relationships do you have now that you would like to deepen and enhance? Perhaps there's someone in your life that you want to go deeper with. Maybe it's a business coach. Maybe it's a mentor. Maybe it's a colleague or a coworker who you want to boost up their role within your organization in some way. Which relationships do you have that you want to deepen and enhance? And then right now also, who do you not know yet, but you would like to know? Who is it that you want to study with? Who do you want to attend a retreat or a workshop, or you want to go to a meeting with that person? What is it? Because again, it's all about the relationships. And as you take the action, the imperfect action, that's going to help you. And lastly, my question to you is all about your vision. What is your vision? What would you like to accomplish in the next year or 3 or 10? And when I ask you that question about your vision, I'd love to know your vision. Share it with me. Maybe you do a vision board where you write it on out, you type it on out, or maybe you write your vision board where you see it. But when you do that, I promise you, in about 6 months from now, 9 months from now, when this year is over, and you're like, hey, TD, remember I did that vision board back in that April episode? Yeah, I remember that. Well, guess what? It's happened. And it's actually opened up my dreams to even going deeper on my vision and the impact that I want to have. So I hope that fires you up here today, because as I get ready to fly over to Arizona right now, your heart and your soul are on fire. So with that being said, your mind is right, and it's time for the next section. Let's go on over to Phoenix, Arizona right now. Welcome back to another episode of the Todd Durkin IMPACT Show. And today, the IMPACT Show has gone on the road. We're not in San Diego. We're not filming in San Diego. We're in Gilbert, Arizona, the head of NASM HQ. That's right, the National Academy of Sports Medicine. This is the headquarters, and I'm in this glorious space right now. And let me tell you what, you're in for a real treat today. Yesterday, as I record this, I had the opportunity to deliver my keynote twice, not once, but twice, to their entire team of over 100 people at NASM. Now, I've known of NASM for a long time because as a trainer of almost 30 years experience, NASM has been one of the leaders in the certification space. And in the last 5 years, they've had a meteoric rise in even more qualifications, specializations, and certifications that are helping trainers and future trainers deliver the impact that we want. And here recently, in working deeper on their new NASM 1 endeavor, you'll hear more about that in today's show. And what I'll be doing with NASM 1, sometimes referred to as N1, so that I can impact more coaches and trainers. It brings me great honor today to talk with three different people. Tony Ambler-Wright, product manager, and the professional enablement director. You're going to hear from Mike Tenegrassi, head of product, and then also my good friend, David Van Daff, a.k.a. DVD. And DVD I've known for a while now. He's been in the industry for a long time, but he's the VP of Industry Development and Public Affairs. And let me tell you, these folks, whether you're a trainer, coach, fitness enthusiast, if you're just interested in this space, they're going to drop some dimes on y'all today. So listen up, whether you're out for a walk, jog, run, you're working out, you're on a plane, train, automobile, you're doing the dishes, wherever you're at listening to today's episode, make sure that you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Here we go. So fired up. Right now, we're at the NASM headquarters, Gilbert, Arizona, right outside Phoenix. And I'm so excited today. I have first up, Tony Ambler-Wright. Tony, welcome to the show.
What's up, Todd? Thank you.
Now, when you think about, I hear your title, Product Manager, Professional Enablement.
Yeah.
What do you do at NASM?
That's a great question, Todd. Still trying to figure that out. No, we have a great team here at NASM, and my team in particular is the professional enablement team. And our core responsibility is to ensure that our aspiring, newly certified, or longtime certified professionals have the tools, resources, and support that they need to be successful in the fitness industry and develop sustainable careers.
How many trainers, coaches do you certify a year?
So in terms of the number of professionals you certify, right around 40,000. So
A year?
A year, yeah. So pretty
overall going back in history, how many NASM trainers have been certified?
Nearly 2 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nearly 2 million. Hey, if you've been in the industry for a while, you've probably heard of NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine. They have been a leader for many, many years. And Tony, you've been involved in NASM since what, year 2000?
2000, yeah, is when I first got certified as a trainer with NASM. And at the time, if you go back a little bit further in time, NASM was started in 1987 by Dr. Bob Goldman. And right around 2000, NASM went through a transition where they brought in some new leadership. Dr. Mike Clark was part of that transition.
And it was based in Calabasas. I'll never forget. I know exactly. I remember that spot, Calabasas.
Yeah.
And then when did they move here?
I think it was 2006 is when they made the move out here to Arizona. Yeah.
Well,
so yeah, at that time, NASM had just introduced their optimum performance training model, which was kind of revolutionary in the industry at the time. And once I got certified and started implementing that system with my clients, my business just transformed. My client results just went through the roof. And for me, what I really wanted to do was share that experience with other trainers. And that, from that point on, my objective was to try to get on with NASM and be a part of the team at NASM.
And you've been full-time since 2020-ish?
Full-time since 2020, part of the NASM instructor team since 2005. So it'll be 20 years in April.
Let me ask you a business question. If NASM certifies, let's say 40,000 plus trainers a year, how do you support them? Like, that's a lot of trainers. That's a lot of people you're certifying. And obviously it's one thing to give the certification. It's another thing to actually support them. What initiatives do you have going on now to say, okay, the world needs more, I call them lighthouses, more life changers, life transformers. How do you support them at NASM?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And it's something that we're really passionate about and obviously is critical from our perspective is to support the career success and longevity of those that we certify. We have partnerships, an extensive health club channel that has partnerships with virtually every health club chain you can think of. So we do have some development pathways there. Another big initiative for us is our membership. And through that membership, we provide a variety of different tools and resources to help support a fitness professional wherever they're at in their career. But we look at things like content that...
When you say membership, are you talking the N1 and then you have Club Connect? Are those the memberships you're talking about?
Yeah. So right now we have NASM 1, which is our membership for primarily independent trainers. They are just starting out and or more established in their career. There's a variety of different features and benefits associated with that. And then you mentioned Club Connect, which is our enterprise membership solution. So we have health club partnerships. They use our Club Connect platform to be able to deliver continuing education and other tools and resources for their trainers.
No, and thanks for sharing. That's one of the reasons why I'm here at the HQ, folks, is because in recently forming a partnership with NASM, spoke to the entire team yesterday, as noted in the intro. But N1, NASM 1 is how NASM is really upping their game so that they could support these trainers and coaches. Because what we find is a lot of people get into training and 3 years later they get out. And I'm always like, guys, you could use it as a side hustle, but this is a career. And how do we take NASM is now offering certifications for kids in high school, let alone college and then early 20s. But there's also this trend. I'm gonna talk later on with Mike about this, is some of the trends in the industry. But there's folks in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are getting certified and becoming trainers as well, so they can impact lives. Right. So as far as N1, what's the big initiative there?
Yeah, so when we think about membership, particularly around NASM 1, when we think about membership, particularly NASM 1, we're really looking at, I'd say, 3 primary buckets. Content. So what is content that we can provide that is relevant, meaningful, and actionable? Continuing education. So part of, maintaining your credential is to continue your education, level up in different areas that may be relevant depending on the market that you're working with, staying current on industry trends, and continuing to stay current with the research and the emerging science. And then community is a big aspect of that. So when we think of, fostering a sense of community where not only we can provide support, mentorship, and guidance, but also where our professionals can look to other like-minded individuals to get the support that they need, either going through things at the same time or looking to others who have been where they're at now and can provide that support and feedback and guidance that people need in order to feel like, hey, I can do this, I can make a career out of this, and really make a positive impact doing something that I love.
We are back, and it is so great to be here at the HQ at NASM. We're in Gilbert, Arizona, and I'm absolutely loving it. We had a great day yesterday, and great job, Tony, just previous. And now I'm with Mike Fantagrassi, and Mike is the head of product here at NASM. He's a wealth of knowledge and information. I really want to talk to him about trends today, trends in the industry. What is NASM doing with all the trends and putting their finger on the pulse with the trends? So without further ado, Mike, welcome to the Impact Show, brother.
Thank you.
So speaking of trends, what are some of the trends that you're seeing at NASM and what you're doing about them with both the certifications and the specializations?
Yeah, great question. You touched on wellness. So wellness has been exploding, keeps growing. But when you think about wellness, there's a lot of these different areas within it that we're really interested in. So within our CWC course, Certified Wellness course, what we added to that was a simulation and a business course. So we want to better prepare our professionals with motivational interviewing, which is really critical to being an effective coach. And then also that business side of it as well, because, if you can't make money, then you're not going to stay in the industry.
Exactly.
Other things is the longevity, everything around anti-aging, biohacking. But, what we're really looking at closely is this concept of, and it really starts with someone in their 30s, but it keeps going, is how do I perform at the highest level I can for as long as possible?
Right.
And so one of the things that one of our advisors talks about a lot, so you heard of lifespan and health span, but I really like this concept of placement. So it's like, how do I play for as long as possible at a level that's acceptable?
Preach.
Shouldn't be, right?
Preach.
So you're 90 years old, you get a hole in one, and then you drop dead. So that's the goal for someone like that. And then GLP-1s. So it's still growing. More people are taking the medications. And that's one of the reasons why we just released a course that teaches fitness professionals, wellness professionals, how to work with populations that are taking these medications. Because a lot of times people are burning the candle at both ends when they're doing this. It's really similar to if you're doing like a very low calorie diet and you can't exercise and eat 1,000 calories a day, and there are mitigation strategies too. For instance, how long you eat before your workouts, what you eat afterwards, ways to get more protein, help recover. So those are all things that we're addressing through that course.
So with the GLP-1s, has NASM taken a stance on that one way or the other, or is it more agnostic and it's part of the industry and this is how we deal with it?
Yeah, we looked at the evidence, and right now GLP-1s, they do have side effects, but they're starting to see a lot of additional benefits from the medication, from cardiovascular benefits, cognitive benefits. So there's, it's only going to continue to grow based on that. But what we have seen is that when you control that food noise, you get that area of your life under control, people then start to want to add additional healthy behaviors. And so that's why I think it's actually going to be great for the fitness industry. More people are going to want to come into the gyms and start exercising because that area of their life under control now.
Yep. And that program at NASM is really teaching the trainer to be educated on GLP-1 so that if a client or member comes in and is using the GLPs based from a referral from their physician, they're understanding the benefits, the side effects, and everything else.
Yeah, they're working within scope of practice, knowing that someone's working with their physician to do that, but also helping coach them and make sure that they're not eating too little calories, right? They're not exercising too hard. They're ramping up correctly with their programming.
Is there any movement on the behavioral management side? I'm always like, get your mind right. Like behavior management comes down to, the habits and that. Are there any new additions on the behavioral management side, or is that obviously it's one of the core foundations of your overall certification?
Yeah, great question. Definitely, we've been integrating more behavior change and behavior concepts into our courses. CWC, that's one of the major components of that course.
Yep.
We also released a mindful drinking course as well. So the whole trend around drinking less, it's continuing to grow, and so we provided a course to really teach people best practices around that. Even provides alcohol-free cocktails you can make, and things like that. And we do have a course called Behavior Change Specialist, which we launched, I think, in 2015, and we're going through a revision of that one here soon as well. But I would say in most of our courses, we are integrating a lot of behavior change concepts into that.
Yeah. Also, I know you've got your wellness coaching side of things, and mentioned yesterday, we've got our own Impact Life Coaching certification. Life coaching has really blossomed on many levels, not just within fitness, but as an industry unto itself. Is NASM addressing life coaching or staying away from that standpoint?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say that's something that we haven't really explored deeply, because it went from, personal training, expanding into like nutrition coaching, then wellness coaching.
Right.
And then life coaching, like you mentioned, is huge. It's bigger, than health coaching and wellness coaching right now as well. But I think that may be the evolution, right? We talked about a little bit yesterday in the sessions, but clients trust their trainers more than their physicians,
100%.
right? And so I think the more we can equip trainers to have these additional skill sets, that's going to make them more successful in the career.
That's one of the things I saw during the pandemic over the last even 5 years. Is as a coach and trainer with 20-something years experience, it was certainly always about fitness. But what I realized, and it really expanded the last several years, is people put their faith in their coaches and trainers. And it evolved because of so much of the mindset was shaken, and people were searching and seeking something deeper, that some trainers were thrust into coaching their people beyond fitness, right? Obviously with nutrition, obviously with mindset, but they would be sharing their dreams. And a few years back when we created that life coaching certification, it was more of an awareness of like, man, we can have an impact on these people beyond just fitness, knowing that fitness and for us in the franchise side is fitness and faith. Those two things expand, and then you go with a dream. So I was wondering if NASM is touching upon those. It sounds like, again, you're keeping your finger on the pulse of what's the growing trends in the industry as well. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Anything else on what you do, Mike, when it comes to trends that you see out there?
As far as the trend standpoint, I think you just try to be forward-facing out there, looking at what's going on.
Yeah.
You mentioned a little bit something to kind of add to what we were talking about with longevity, is people having less kids or getting married later. Certain countries, the population's getting really older. And so it's going to be really important for people to stay in the workforce longer, have that mental edge, right? So that way you don't get the biases with ageism and things like that as well. So it becomes really important, whether you're a fitness professional or just a regular person, to take care of yourself and really self-educate on what you need to do to live the lifestyle that you want. And that's one of the things that's interesting about our products, is that in certain cases, we sell about 40% of our courses to people who have no intention of working with other people. They're doing it for their self-education.
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting trend, that we're seeing.
40%?
Yeah, in certain cases, it's 40%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, my friends out there listening in, if you want to check that out, NASM.org, NASM.org, not .com, .org. Also on IG, all you IG lovers, I see you. Thanks for the DMs at NASM Fitness. At NASM Fitness is the IG. Hop over there. I'll put it in the show notes as well. But Mike, thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you. Guys, we'll be right back after a station break.
Are you tired of grinding and going at it all alone? It doesn't need to be like that any longer. The TD High Performance Mastermind Group is a faith-driven community for fitness professionals, online coaches, and corporate leaders ready to grow together. For just $99 a month, you get live coaching, an elite peer network, and game-changing accountability. And here's the kicker. New members receive their first retreat for free. Yes, they get their first retreat for free. Let that be you. If you're interested, book your free strategy call today with Kelly Watson over at todddurkin.com/TD Mastermind. Once again, that's todddurkin.com/TD Mastermind, and step into your next level today.
We're back, and I am so excited to be here at NASM, as I was sharing, and to be here for 2 days and to share with the team yesterday and then today to have meetings and to record the Impact Show podcast with a trilogy of people here. I got to tell you, it is an honor. It is special. And now that I have my man, David Van Daff, a.k.a. DVD, in the house. David, welcome to the Impact Show.
It's about time.
No doubt about it. And David has one heck of a story. And now at NASM as the VP of Industry Development and Public Affairs, DVD is a wealth of knowledge. And he's the one who's responsible for getting me here to NASM. And I want to thank you because I had an awesome time connecting with the team yesterday. And you said it on both sessions. And I know the team was fired up, but what were some of the top takeaways from both yourself or the team, 100 plus people? What were the top takeaways, would you say?
That's a great question. And we start when we plan out these meetings of we know we want something inspiring. So somebody who's going to fire up, motivate this team. And it's a big comprehensive team from a variety of different divisions. What we get from you, though, Todd, is we get that inspiration, that motivation, but we get actionable steps. Actionable steps in terms of what they're doing from a work perspective, how they're living their life, how they're addressing their health and wellness. And so enormous takeaways. I would say that and I actually made some notes. And to me, I know something's impactful when I come back and I actually record some notes on, hey, here are some things that I personally need to focus on and then focus on with my team. But to me, the impact system always is a great way of addressing your life, your work career, and your balance ultimately, and is a great barometer in terms of doing what you're doing. A quote that really stood out for me is, your purpose is to use what you do best, your talent, do what you love, your passion, to produce results that matter to you. We talk all the time. Hey, from the moment folks start their career, it's say, find something that you like to do that's going to motivate you and it's not considered work. But I don't think what's talked about enough is the results that matter to you. And so it's how do you want to live your life? And what are the things that are important? And how can you find a job that is going to provide you with the means to be able to live that life? So you started with one of those quotes, and I think that really stood out quite a bit. We all have jobs out there that they're not always going to be rosy every single day.
That's right.
They can be fulfilling, but if they're checking the box in those three, then you're on the right path.
That's right.
We started with that, and before I'll give you an opportunity to comment on some of these, but there were so many, and I want to make sure.
I'll let you roll that stuff.
You roll. Absolutely. We really wanted to stress with our group, and of course, we know your presentations, and I sat through a number of them live, but getting your mind right. And that is so important in everything that we're doing. And oftentimes not necessarily addressed. It's do your job, but it starts with getting your mind right. And there are a couple of tips too that are things that we don't typically see. Don't be consumed by the news. Avoid the energy vampires. I mean, that's a big one there. And the other thing that I love is the amp up element. And we talk about amping up your fitness and amping up your recovery. This is something, and for folks in our industry that are already on the pathway of, I exercise and I try and eat clean and different things along those lines. But are we really maximizing out the opportunity?
Absolutely.
Are we going at it 75%? And I love that. For me personally, it's okay, yeah, you're getting your workouts. You got them in all 7 days. But did you amp them up ultimately?
That's right.
Thought that was wonderful. And then, the positivity elements, the gratitude, and removing the toxicity. All of these things are really, really important reminders for everybody. But when you're in a high pressure organization that is growing at the speed that we're growing at, important elements to be able to address.
Absolutely. Yep.
Leaders, that's another thing. When we went into this, and we've got a variety of people, a variety of different positions out there. We're all leaders. And so I think it was important for everybody to take a step back and go, hold on a second. Yeah, okay, maybe I don't have leadership in my title, but I am a leader here in this area. I'm a leader at home. I'm a leader in my peer group, and really looking at it from that, I thought was absolutely wonderful.
Keep flowing and going.
Well, one that stuck with me personally is leaders make gut decisions. And this is something that happens, I think, in everyday business world, is that we don't want to make mistakes. And we don't want to, very often their problem will occur. Well, what do you say? I don't know. Well, let's have a meeting on it. Let's have another call on it. We'll address that, and it lingers.
That's right.
And ultimately, as part of the role is, hey, there's a problem, there's an issue. Let's get in front of this. Let's investigate what our options are, and then we make a decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought that was great. Leaders set high expectation, walk the talk, and raise people up and motivate and inspire people to be their best. And this is like, there's the leaders hold their people accountable and they achieve results and different things along those lines. But it is very, very important. And what all organizations to see it, if you're leading people and you're not walking the walk and talking the talk, they will notice. And sometimes within a organization like NASM, for example, that has all these different components and hundreds of people working, you can have one division that's held a certain level of accountability. But if they're seeing another division that maybe that leader isn't holding true to the same principles that one division is, that you can cause some conflict. So it's just your team watching you. It's everybody ultimately. And so I thought that was really, really great. One that's important to remember, I think, throughout any type of career is leaders develop other leaders and provide growth opportunities.
Amen.
Always looking for a replacement, finding the great talent and motivating them. And that is ultimately the goal. The easiest way to get promoted is to find your replacement.
Gilbert, I didn't know you took so many notes. I mean, I had 13 leadership points. One of my points on number 3 was leadership, and there's 13 points on leadership. This man has typed out his notes in less than 24 hours. This is an exec right here taking notes. Keep rolling. Finish this out. By the way, DVD, deepen is now available to get your mind right talks all around the country. If your business wants to get your mind right talk, you can not only you can go get.
You don't need to go there. I'm available. Yes. Especially if it's in a warm location during the winter. Yes.
Keep going.
Morning and evening routine dialed in. This is a big one. Once again, it's for some people, it's hey, getting moving, exercising. For other people that are doing that, is okay, they're waking up when they're waking up and spending an hour in social media, sipping on coffee or whatever. It's getting that plan. Yep. And it's not only the plan morning wise, I think, but it's the evening plan where it's hey, I'm shutting down, dinner with the family. This way, phone goes away. Hey, I'm going to spend an hour doing this. I'm going to do, something that's going to help my family or my relationships beyond that. That was wonderful. Showing up, always a great reminder, especially in today's day and age. And we have our computers at home. We've got our phones out all the time. We've got all these things. And yet there are people who depend upon us that are looking at us. And hey, you may be kind of listening or whatever, but when you look at your phone, you're not showing up.
That's exactly right.
I thought that was wonderful. We said at the beginning, your quote on the Dalai Lama, you should post this.
Share. You share
is phenomenal. Man sacrifices itself in order to make money. Then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he is so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. Result being that he does not live in the present or in the future. He lives as if he's never going to die and then dies having never really lived. One of the things I think about a lot in our industry is I'm coming up on 30 years within this industry. I stopped telling people, when I started into it, because people kept on coming back. Oh, that's the year I was born, that type of thing. It made me feel way too old.
Right.
But it is one of those, we get rolling in this life and it keeps on going and going and going. And we do tend to think about, we don't think about, what am I going to do for the next 10 years or 20 years or different, what's important to me now? And so I think it's really, really important to reflect and understand, live in the moment, plan for the future, but really address it and not just operate blindly of, I'll think about some of these things when I retire or when I get older and that type of thing.
Wow.
I'll wrap up on this. The 10 forms of wealth are great, right? Nobody ever thinks of the 10. They think of a couple on there, but it's really digging in deep and then setting the goals. And this is something I'm working on right now is, identify the goals, right? What are those going to be? And not be so generalized. What do I want to do over the course of the year in this division, this division, this division? And it's not just get a great review and make good money and and, go on vacation, that type of, but really digging deep into those aspects, I think is such a great exercise.
Well, I give you credit, DVD and the team, because so many times when you think about these, and great notes, by the way, I asked DVD his top takeaways and he took all these notes. I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's awesome because sometimes people think they have to do this work when things aren't going well. And NASM has just had a record year.
Yeah.
I mean, that you guys had a banner year. And when I was prepping for this with you and Bill and Mike and Tony, JP and the leadership team, we talked about that there was a lot of success, but you were looking to motivate, inspire the team to get to an even greater level, to get to that world-class level of how we talked about even yesterday, how the greatest how success can do the greatest preventative of future success, because we didn't get complacent with success. And we went into that mindset of how you can continue to amplify and grow in all 10 areas of your life. I give you credit because in talking with the team yesterday, all different departments on it, it was an honor to hear the feedback from the team at NASM, giving back to them about mindset of what it takes of get mind right to operate as your best self, even if you're already operating at a good level. Because sometimes like, well, my health isn't where I want it, or my finances aren't where I want it. And you just focus on that area. But I also say, even with our athletes, is what are you focusing on now that are your strengths, so you can double down on your strengths to make your strengths even stronger? And of course, we want to amplify our weaknesses and get them better. But all of that, what you just said is part of yesterday's program. And I'm honored to not only do that yesterday and to be here today with the leadership team and doing some work, and then obviously recording this podcast is awesome. So thank you all for just hearing the recap of our hour-long Get Your Mind Right talk. That's good.
Absolutely. That's I was going to add to it. I think it's harder to address these things more than ever, and part of it is within all of our jobs, we have an email inbox that's just continually fed.
That's right.
And now we've got Teams and Slack and all these messages coming through. It is bombardment. And it is really, really easy to go about your life, especially from a business perspective, of just turning on the computer and replying back over and over and over again, where you're not thinking about some of these things that are going to make your job more fulfilling, more successful, and lacking, from a leadership perspective, because all of you are doing is just addressing what's right in front of you. So I think it's more important than it's ever been to take a step back and go, let me make out a plan. Let me figure out, what I'm doing on a daily basis to make sure that I'm achieving everything that I want to achieve as a person, as a business person.
That's right. DVD, if this is the mindset motivation section of the podcast here today, you talked about the recap and top takeaways from yesterday, but expectations for trainers have changed. You said you've been here, you've been in the industry for 30 years. Today, there's a different set of expectations in some ways. How do you see the difference of the expectation of today's trainer versus yesteryear's trainer?
It's monumental, and it's a great question, and one that I like to address. When I started into the industry, first of all, most people had never really heard of anybody, a normal person, doing personal training. There's some of the athletes and the wealthy and all of this. And so when it started, it was all about okay, I go to a trainer and they're going to tell me what the program is in order to be able to get the results I want. Cheer me on, motivate me, hold me accountable.
Get your certification and then figure it out.
Absolutely. Most of the people that joined health clubs back in the mid-90s and worked with a professional was their first time. First health club, first experience with a fitness professional. That's all changed.
Yep.
Today's client, today's member that's coming in to work with a fitness professional, very often they belong to other fitness facilities. They've tried diets. They followed an Instagram influencer, did a variety of different things. They haven't gotten the results that they've gone in for, or that they've attempted to get to. So they tend to be a little bit more skeptical. What their expectations for now the trainer become is not just to be there and develop the programming. I mean, heck, I can go online and find a million different programs that can help me get to my goals. But it's somebody's going to hold them accountable. It's somebody who's going to motivate them. But it's going to be somebody who's going to address every element of their life. So it's not just the physical fitness anymore and the accountability into it. But what they want to know is, what do I need to be eating? What should my recovery look like? What is this type of supplement? What is this type of diet? What do you recommend with this? What is going to help me with motivation, behavior change, mental health, all of these elements. How much should I be sleeping? What does that matter? Oh, and by the way, I'm coming to you 2 days a week. Tell me what I'm doing on the other 5 days.
There it is.
Oh my gosh. And so the fitness professional has to come equipped with so much more. And that's why we've addressed this really with NASM, is that we have our CPT certification that so many of aspiring professionals go through to enter into this industry. But now we have courses on wellness and nutrition that we dig deep into behavior change. We just have a new course really responding to the trends that are happening now that are addressing GLP-1s and weight loss medications. And how does that fitness professional navigate through those waters? And so it's our role and our responsibility to prepare trainers. What we have to do to prepare trainers these days is far more extensively than it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Mike was talking about some of those certifications earlier on that. And when you look at today's trainer, you're right. It's not just about the 2 or 3 sessions a week. It's, pardon the pun, how do you get their mind right 7 days a week?
Yes.
Right? How do you keep them on track? And all of these different opportunities between their health, their fitness, their nutrition, their mindset, their recovery. I mean, that's why, again, I spoke of it earlier, but I believe why the life coaching and in your world here, the wellness coach side has really grown, because fitness, this whole industry has exploded, especially in the last 5 years, right? If there was one piece of wisdom that you could offer a trainer today, what would that be? If there was some wisdom you can give to someone today who's already certified in the industry, what would be a piece of wisdom that you could provide?
Well, what I would say from the very beginning is, and there's no lack of aspiring professionals out there. We have so many people who come to NASM that have started careers in other areas, that have gotten degrees in other areas. Where they're happy in their gym. They're happy when their friends and their family come to them and say, hey, you look great. Like, what do you do? What should I do? That type of thing. Also, very often they come from a sports background. They had coaches that were influential in their life, and they like that element of being a coach. And so we have those come in. What happens in our industry, and it's happened from the very beginning, is that we very often take those aspiring trainers, we get them into the industry, and then they get disenchanted for one reason or another. And very often it becomes the business development element to it. So it's like, how do I sell myself? Right? I know everything. I can help everybody out there, but I've got to go out there and I've got to talk to people and develop relationships and build the business and ask for referrals and do all of these things that a lot of people are uncomfortable about until they start doing it. Right? So it is get your education, develop your education, find mentors out there that we talk about a lot. So find people that are doing what you ultimately want to do. How do I go about doing it? I hit some rough patches. We talked a lot about that yesterday in terms of, and it's not just it's harder to sell than I thought it was going to be. Maybe I'll go back to selling insurance. Maybe I'll go back and take on my investment again that I was doing before. But it's no. Hey, if this is holding you back, you've got the aspiration, you have the inspiration, you've got the education to support it. This is one element. Learn that element. Talk to people. Get comfortable. Role play. Do all those things. Don't give up on the industry because you think, oh, I'm not a good salesperson.
Yes, right.
If you're a good motivator, you can be a good salesperson. Yeah. And if you're a coach and a trainer, you're a good motivator.
Yeah, it's good. Makes me think about the power of one, because in today's day with so many things to learn, it can be overwhelming for any trainer, whether you're new or you've been in the field 5, 10 years, you've been in 20 plus years, and you're thinking about, man, how do I do everything? And you look at influencers on social media and like, I'm not good in front of camera. I don't have a podcast, or I don't do this or that. And you start beating yourself up about what you don't have and how you don't stack up against certain standards. And I think when it comes to it, it was interesting. Just before we got started, Tony, who was on earlier in the show, he said, T, do you still do body work? So we were talking about, I went to school in Atlanta, Georgia, from the massage school in the 90s. I said, no, I don't really do body work per se one-on-one as I used to, but I loved when it was just one-on-one and you can connect deeply with one person. And that's the roots of it. And I would say to any trainer, coach out there is never forget the power of one person.
Yeah.
Like you can see all this, but it can also be overwhelming to see I should be doing this and that and this. Before you know, like I'm not doing any of it well, so I'm not good at it. I'm going to get out of it.
Yes.
Versus if you can pour into one person at a time, and even if your class has 8, 12, 20, 30 people in your class, how do you pour into the one person? If you do one-on-one training or small group training, how do you pour into the one? Because the one might mean you're working with 40, 50 people a month or 200 people a month, whatever that is the power of one, I think, is really and always will be an important aspect in this industry of change one life at a time.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's a podcast, one life is changed. Whether it be a social media post, one life at a time. And I think that mindset of like you compare yourself to everyone else out there, you'll never be as good, right? They say comparison is the thief of joy. Is just focus on who's it going to be today that I'm going to change someone's life. And I think that mindset can really make a difference on that. Anything else, DVD?
I was going to add into it. It's also setting boundaries in that too. I think what becomes overwhelming is when you start thinking about, okay, I'm going to reach out to all these people. I'm going to find my community. I'm going to be available 24/7. And that becomes daunting. And I think what you do a great job with is you openly commit, hey, here's my cell phone. Here's my email. You have this amazing network and community, but you have and constantly on airplanes, everything like that. But you organize your life in such a way to where you can take that on without sacrificing other things. And I think sometimes when we think about what our workload is or what it would require to be successful, you start thinking about it and go, oh my gosh, how on earth could I do that? I would be sacrificing all of this and not have a social life and not have a family. I'd be on consistently. No, you don't. Right. You just need to be organized in terms of what you're doing. Hey, instead of sitting around for an hour in the morning, cycling through on social media and say, you know what, I got my outreach. I got 15 people I got to connect with today. And I'm going to start and utilize that time. 15 minutes to maybe check my social channels and then go forth and do the productive work.
That's exactly right. No, you're right on. I think when you think about that aspect of where do you put your guardrails up? What are the guardrails that are non-negotiables for one's life? This is when you say, for me personally, I have guardrails and I know what those guardrails are. And you just can't let the work overwhelm your life so that next thing you know, you're just working 7 days a week, because I'm as privy as anyone to be able to do that if those guardrails aren't in place or I don't hold true to those guardrails. And how do you include family in some of the trips that you're making? Right? I used to have the kids got one trip any conference or event, speaking event, conference they want to go to, they could go to one. Melanie, heck, just I had a retreat a couple of weeks ago, and Melanie came to that retreat with me so that we actually had time together and to learn together because those live events are always so powerful. So I think those guardrails are important for anyone out there on that today. And then the last question I have, DVD, as far as you, like, what are you most excited about at NASM and then for the industry, for the fitness industry? What are you most excited about these days as a leader in the field?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I love about NASM is that where it sits within the industry in a gold standard position is that we never do anything just to get a product out into the markets. We invest in our products, and the intention of every product that we build is for it to be the best in the industry. There's a lot that goes into planning out what we need to build. How can we support the industry? What do our B2B partners need? What do our individual professionals? What about the vets? Like, we talk about the aspiring trainers, but what about the veterans that are going to help them from a staff development perspective? We take it so seriously, and our product development team does an absolute phenomenal job. And what we do really is go out and find the best experts into the space, and we work with them to develop the materials, to write the chapters and put it together. Now, I love being a part of an organization where it doesn't, come down to how can we make something as cheap as possible, but it's going to be valuable, right? First and foremost, it's got to be the best. We have to make sure that what we load out to the love that. So that always gets me excited. I work with phenomenal people, a brand that I'm so incredibly proud of, and then we consistently innovate. We were talking about trainers. I know those guys probably talked about NASM 1, but we know that we needed more of a support system that was out there, and something that was going to be carried with that professional in the early stages through the development of their career. Not just buy this course now and go do that, but something that could help that individual along the way, wherever they were in their career. That gets me excited. What gets me really excited within the industry is we're coming up on the HFA show next month is all that is happening. We've got incredible products and technology that is coming out there. We consistently have this great flow of professionals. We're in an industry that you can't replace with technology. People need to put in the work, right?
That's right.
And they need the fitness professionals. So we've overcome that hump of like, we're not going away. There's more need than there's ever been for it. But we also have some interesting things, from an administration perspective, that some things could make getting moving more advantageous. A lot of optimism around the FIT Act for HSAs and FSAs and tax-free funds for your gym membership, for your personal training services, for the children's athletic fees. It's something we've been addressing in this industry for a long period of time. Exercise is preventative medicine, but we don't give the same benefits associated with exercise. So there's a lot of optimism as some of these things that could come to fruition in a short period of time.
Yeah, so well said. You can hear and see the wealth of information that David Van Daff is, and he is one of the leaders here at NASM Fitness. And again, I want to encourage you to take a look at all they have going on. But DVD, thank you for being here, brother.
Pleasure.
Guys, we're going to take a short break, and I'll be right back to wrap it up. If you're a gym owner, a fitness coach, or in the martial arts space, your website and digital marketing needs to be dialed in. And that's exactly where my friends at 97 Display come in. 97 Display is the #1 website and digital marketing company in the fitness and martial arts industries. They don't do gimmicks, just real results-driven strategies that bring in more leads, more members, and more revenue. I've seen firsthand how they help fitness businesses grow, and they do it with trust, innovation, and a powerhouse team behind the scenes. Yes, they do. And here's the best part. Because you're a loyal listener of this Impact Show podcast, you can get started with them today for just $97. Yup, only $97 to level up your website and digital marketing in 2025. Don't wait. Go to 97display.com/Todd-Durkin right now. Tell them TD sent you and start seeing the impact of a high-performance marketing strategy team today. That's 97display.com/Todd-Durkin. Well, that's a wrap from NASM here in Arizona. I want to say thank you for joining today. We had 3 great guests on the Impact Show. And I got to tell you, having Mike, Tony, and DVD on the show certainly brought a depth and level here at NASM that was awesome. And it was a great 2 days. Having the opportunity yesterday to present, and DVD did a great recap of the hour-long Get Your Mind Right talk. And he's now available for guest speaking as well. And Tony talked about not only the history of NASM, but why join in on the fitness industry movement, whether you're a trainer, coach, or you're someone who wants to use this as a side hustle. Great opportunities happen at NASM and in our industry right now. And Mike, as the head of product here at NASM, to hear about the dozens of different certifications and specializations, it truly makes me proud as a coach, as a trainer, as someone who's been in the industry for a long time, that we're headed in a great direction. And there's so many millions of Americans and people around the globe who can be positively impacted by coaches and trainers. And that excites me to know the great opportunity that is out there. So I'll say thank you to NASM for being a great host, to work deeper with them in their NASM 1 program, and to be able to deliver more content to their professionals is really an awesome opportunity and an honor to do that. So don't forget, take a look, NASM.org. NASM.org is their website. If you're on Instagram, NASM Fitness. And please do us a favor. If you're a coach or you're a trainer, tag me and tag NASM Fitness in a story. Just take a quick picture right now, wherever you're at, and tag that on your Instagram story. Tag us up, share the love, and let's continue to make this fitness and coaching industry as great as it is. Guys, I love you. Can't wait to see you real soon. Until next time, train hard, eat right, live inspired, and go create impact.